Welcome everybody to Singapore. This race was off the calendar for a little while in Formula 1, but it was brought back, and over the years it's had some layout changes, and we first ran this layout we run today in 2023. Let's take a look at your starting grid for today's race. It's a McLaren front row. Lando Norris takes P1, Piastri 2 tenths behind in P2. The rest of the grid in this order will have Carlos Sainz P3 and Lance Stroll P4, Lewis Hamilton P5, Tsunoda P6, Ocon P7, Blake 28 P8, Behrman 9th and Alonso 10th, Alexander Albon 11th, Russell 12th, Lawson 13th, Verstappen 14th, Hulkenberg 15th, Doohan 16th, Gasly 17th, and Antonelli 18th. In your last row of the grid, we'll have Isaac Hadjar in 19th, and Gabriel Bortoleto in P20. Let's get ready for racing then. This should be a good one in Singapore.
Good luck.
Alright then. This should be an interesting race. As you'll see on the radar, there is one tiny spot of rain. Whether or not it will be wet enough for intermediates is going to be the big question. If it's not, this will be a simple one-stop race in the blazing hot Singapore heat. But as we get ready for the formation lap, we're P8. I crashed in qualifying, unfortunately, in Q3. Not where we want to be. However, Verstappen, with his grid penalty, does help us with our bad qualifying. And it's Singapore, and that wet patch might be able to help us in making our way up the grid, but we're going to need a good start. And if we can get a good start, we should be okay, and hopefully in a position to maybe even get a top 5. That's really the goal here today. A top 5 is on the cards, so we got to try and get it and see if we can. Earlier in the formation lap, I flashed a driver's championship standings and graphic, and Norris leads, so we gotta make something work here, but we're almost guaranteed to get ahead of Verstappen after this race. We are underway in Singapore. We get Ocon, Tsunoda, and we go down the inside of our teammate, but we gotta be careful. Don't want to be hitting teammates. That's something, you just don't want to do at all unless you're in a championship fight. Lewis is not in the championship fight, but I am, so I gotta be careful. We get Lewis, so we're up to P5 from the start, and we're gonna have a little run on Lance Stroll here for P4. I'm already at my goal of a top 5. We're now P4, and that's a really good start. These hard tires will come alive in about 8 laps, so we'll be towards the front of the top 3, and we already are on lap 4, and we go for a dive down the inside of Carlos Sainz. P3 acquired onto the podium, and that's a nice move. It was a nice little dive bomb. We've now caught up to Piastri. You'll notice the rain patch has hit. So far, not the worst. We had a little tap of the wall there, but so far it's not the worst rain, and it's good enough to stay out on dries. But Piastri on those old mediums is struggling a lot, and he just does not have grip, so we're going to try to go around the outside here. It was the only option I really had. Locked the rears a bit, but we make it work around the outside. P2 acquired in the Singapore Grand Prix. And as we catch up to Norris, he decides it's time to box, but not for dries. Norris is pitting for intermediate tires here. The rain is too much. And as we go into lap 16, DRS is disabled, and that's usually the sign on the F1 games that, it's time to switch over to wets or inters or whatever you want, but I'm not going to. Lap 18, Norris has caught up to us. I stayed out. I'm gambling here. We are in this championship fight, and I'm not trying to lose points. Gambling, you never know. It might work out, it might not, but we're going to take the risk, stay out on these wet conditions. You can see tire light is on lap 18. I don't want to lose positions to the McLarens, and you can see it's real slippery. I couldn't even stay in the pit lane, but we box, and it's not for inters. It will be for medium compound tires. We're going with the one-stop strategy, and right as we do this, DRS enabled. That usually means it's the crossover point, and it's time for dry tires. 2.4 second stop, and we're going to see if we're able to undercut the McLarens. That was the plan. If we could box and undercut the McLarens by doing the one-stop and they go on Insters, we should be good. The McLarens are exiting the pit lane. Piastri's on hards, Norris on mediums, and by 0.2 of a second, we have undercut Lando Norris. They double-stacked, which cost Piastri lots of time. But Norris is right side by side with us. On the next lap, he locks up. We go a bit wide, but we maintain P1 for now. But this is going to be a long battle. Still plenty of time left in this race. The next lap, Norris is not done yet, but we're going to force him the same way around. If he wants to get around me, he's going around the outside. He can't do it on lap 23. On 24, he's going to try again. Norris, very close. We're at the wing mirror, and we keep P1 again. He's just going to keep trying. He's not done yet. He hits me with the front tire. Norris still can't get the job done, though, and Piastri's now closed in. It's a 3-car battle for the win here in Singapore. Norris is going to try again, and he loses a bit of front wing. We made contact. Norris loses a bit of his front wing, and that's deadly for his race, and it's really going to hurt him. And he could not catch up. You'll see 0.7 is the gap to Lando Norris. We fought through rain, and we didn't pit for inters. We're in a championship fight, and sometimes you gotta take risks. Sometimes they'll pay off, and this is one of those times. We win the Singapore Grand Prix and cut the lead from the championship. We overtake Max Verstappen in the standings. We're now P2. The lead is only 13 points between Lando Norris and myself. We're now within a race win, and that is some good stuff by us here in Singapore.
Well, that was certainly an exciting
Alright, well, we're going to take a look at the race results after what I honestly think was a really entertaining Singapore Grand Prix. Let's look at the top 3 here. Norris misses out on the race win by 0.7, and Piastri was only a second behind, and that was the longest race of the season, I believe, 51 minutes. So it was a long one. So yeah, but myself P1, Lando P2, Piastri P3, Lewis and beats George for P4. It was actually a close finish between those two, but decent job from Lewis there. Carlos Sainz P6, and then you'll have Albon 7th. Verstappen recovers to 8th, Tsunoda 9th, and Lance Stroll qualified P4. But unfortunately for Lance Stroll, it was only enough for 1 point in this race. Then you will have Kimi Antonelli in P11, then Pierre Gasly P12, Behrman 13th, Hülkenberg 14th, Lawson 15th, Ocon 16th, Hadjar 17th, Bortolotto and Doohan and then Alonso 18th, 19th, and 20th. We look at the championship standings for the drivers first. That should be an interesting one. And as I said, 13 points separate myself and Lando Norris. Norris leads 317 to 304. Verstappen now 31 points behind, and it's now officially only a 3-car battle for the championship between me, Lando, and Max. Piastri is officially out. McLaren still lead the constructors by 99 points over Ferrari. Thank you for watching. I'll see you for Coda.